Okay, so this is for our N217 Relational Practices Motivational Interviewing project. The scenario that we have developed is that the patient has gone his entire life with no dietary restrictions and now has reactions that can become crippling and debilitating after eating products which contain wheat. Patient went to the hospital and post-blood test had discovered that they were confirmed to have celiac disease. Patient is to be discharged while nurse intends to give health education pertaining to new diagnosis. Hello. Are you Mr. Brody?
Yes, I am.
What's your name and date of birth?
Marcus, 2000, March 2nd.
Perfect. My name is Zavier. I'm a year 2 nursing student, and I heard you just spoken to the doctor and got a recent diagnosis of celiac disease.
Yeah, unfortunately, he just confirmed that I do have celiac disease. With all the symptoms I was having, I found myself unable to attend class or focus on my schoolwork at all.
Yeah, that sounds really challenging. It must be especially difficult keeping up with your studies given all the physical symptoms and side effects you're dealing with. What do you currently know about the disease and how do you feel about your diagnosis?
Oh, all I really know is that I can't eat wheat, specifically gluten. Kind of sucks because I play a lot of sports, so I do a lot of carbo loading, which mainly involves wheat. So now I have no idea how to up my calorie intake. I'm also worried about my motivation, how it's going to impact my career goals.
Yeah, understandable. That sounds really challenging as a whole. Are you interested in learning more about celiac disease and ways that we can maybe alleviate some of your concerns about eating enough? I mean, I know this can be really stressful, especially when you're also trying to do your best in school and able to secure that dream job you have in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, like you said, I live on my own and I attend school, so my budget for food isn't the best. I don't want to have to change my entire life and my diet just because I'm stupid diagnosed and that won't kill me. Plus, you're just a second-year nurse. What do you know about diagnosis? Should I be going to a dietitian or something? You know, someone who actually knows what they're talking about?
I totally understand, and those are valid concerns. So while celiac disease might not kill you, you might find that it affects your overall quality of life. I'm not a trained nutritionist the same way a dietitian is because they went to school for 4 years to work on that specifically, whereas I'm kind of broader focused. What I do know is that you're an athlete, and this is a big area that celiac disease could have an effect on. Celiac disease could also have an impact on your overall mood, which could potentially lead to depression. Sometimes all of these symptoms stack on top of each other because they're connected, and by improving one, you can see improvement in other areas like school, sports, and how you're feeling in your body. Does that make sense to you?
It just seems like a huge change for minimal benefits. How the heck is what I eat going to impact the way I feel? As a prodigal kid who's going to the show, eating lots of carbs is how I'm going to become the new paid man.
Absolutely, and that's totally fair to think that. Maybe I should clarify and say that carbohydrates are undoubtedly super important for athletes, and by no means am I suggesting that you cut these out or stop consuming them. In fact, the body and brain rely primarily on carbs in order to fuel those muscle contractions and keep your brain operating at peak potential. And it does this by converting carbs into sugars that your body's cells can use. So celiac disease is an autoimmune disease, one that specifically involves gluten, which is a protein found in wheat products. Your body's cells, especially those that are found in your guts or small intestines, react to these proteins and cause a lot of the symptoms you may have been experiencing, such as nausea, bloating, pain, and cramps. Maybe some trouble concentrating, maybe some brain fog.
Yeah, those are some things I've experienced for sure, but I don't know the first thing about cooking or what to eat when it comes to omitting gluten.
I understand, and that can definitely be scary when you have to change your diet. So things I've found and things that I've learned are that internet and YouTube are excellent resources for gluten-free cooking. And a huge misconception that a lot of people have is that gluten-free cooking or food doesn't taste good, it's expensive, or is hard to cook. So potatoes, rice, corn, and beans are all really great sources of carbs, and all of these do not contain gluten and are all very reasonably priced. Can you think of some foods that have these ingredients that you like to eat?
You said potatoes, so maybe French fries or stir fry. You also said corn, so maybe some popcorn or tacos. And hash browns, probably. I
Yep.
don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. None of those foods contain wheat except for potentially the stir fry. Stir fry often uses soy sauce, and soy sauce is more often than not has wheat in it. However, there are gluten-free soy sauce options, which pretty much keeps the recipe and the taste the same. Something that you will have to do moving forwards is to be able to read the labels on your food and make sure it doesn't contain wheat or gluten or any byproducts. These days, there are heaps and loads of options for gluten-free substitutes, and many more than there used to be back in my day. You can also keep eating out, but it might mean you have to ask your server if there's potential for cross-contamination or if there are any celiac-specific foods available. Most restaurants will be happy to do this for you, but some may not, so it's restaurant and location dependent. Even some fast food options these days have gluten-friendly options like lettuce buns.
Wow, okay, I feel a lot more confident with the new knowledge. It's a lot to take on, but I feel confident with the new suggestions. I also have a very supportive family that intends to take me shopping tomorrow.
Right on. That's great to hear that your family supports you in this, and I know it can feel overwhelming, especially with a new diagnosis. It's undoubtedly a lot to get used to. I'm confident that with time, you'll find it easier, and you'll find it starts to feel better. You might even find that your sporting career and your school improves as you alter your diet, given that your body is better able to process and absorb nutrients. To wrap this up, tell me 3 basic carbohydrate-heavy foods that do not have wheat in them.
Rice, potatoes, beans.
Perfect. Love to hear it.
I appreciate everything, and when I make it to the Super Bowl, I'll make sure to sign a football for you.
All right, Peyton. Come back anytime if you have any questions for me.